Good evening, everyone. I, Good evening, everyone. I, Harsimran Kaur, and my colleague, Ms. Kanchan Bawa, welcome you all to this webinar, Empathy, the Medicine the World Needs. Parent and school counselors' view on such a topic gives us a clear perspective of the importance on the value of the child's life. So, we are glad to have with us Ms. Avanti Desai, our school counselor, and Mrs. Sarda Sagi, a parent. It makes us very proud to have a few of our students from the primary section sharing their views on this platform. We have with us Tamanna Jain of class 5, Anvay Karandikar of class 4, and Snigdha Sagi of class 4. All the parents and educators attending the webinar will surely agree that instilling values at a young age helps a child to develop meaningful and trusting relationships with others and empowers them to lead a fulfilled life.
Very true, Harsimran. And one such value, which should be infused at a young age, is empathy. As we all know, it is the ability to sense other person's emotions, to understand their thoughts and feelings from their perspective. Because when we experience empathy, we are more likely to build better social connections and regulate our emotions too. What do you have to say about that, Avanti ma'am?
I completely agree with you, Kanchan ma'am. Empathy is what makes us feel connected and even comforted. Without empathy, we are nothing but simple cold hearted machines. So, let me share an interesting story with all of you to demonstrate the importance of empathy. Now, in this story, an Indian flew to Sweden for an important meeting. Now, there, his colleague picked him up and drove down to their office. Now, they reached very early and they found many vacant parking spots. But his colleague went to the furthest one to park the car. Now, the Indian just couldn't hide his amazement and asked, "Why did you do that when there are so many parking spots which are available closer to the office?" So the colleague replied, "Those are for people who may come in late for whatever reason, park quickly, and then reach on time." So, this story you see is not about where you park your car. It's about empathy and carrying people along with you. Caring for others can make a very big difference and it always leads to happiness.
Marvelous, ma'am. That was an inspiring story you have shared with us. Thank you. It surely motivates us all to be more empathetic. When we think about others, we are actually building connections between them and us. Lending an ear to someone when they want to share something without being biased, or even cooking dinner for a friend who is not well, and that too without being asked to do so, shows how much you care for others' happiness. So these little moments of empathy do go a long way.
Absolutely, ma'am. Such instances do stay with us forever. But I feel that empathy doesn't come easily to everyone. We live in a world where everybody seems to be running after something or the other. And so, being empathetic has become very difficult for us. It's difficult for us to exercise patience and even listen to others before we express our own opinions. We simply expect other people to understand us without ever putting ourselves in their shoes. We want others to agree with our opinions without even giving them a chance to talk about theirs. And as a result of this, our day to day interactions become nothing more than just a cold exchange of replies. So you see, there is no real connection, there is no empathy as such.
Very rightly said, ma'am. But I feel if you are willing to listen instead of talking, understand instead of criticizing, and give comfort instead of judging, you can quickly turn any cold conversation into an authentic and warm interaction. Whether you're talking to your spouse, your co-worker, your boss, or even to a neighbor, empathetic listening can improve the quality of your interaction. If you look at history, it was collaboration and not competition that helped humankind to survive and reach the level of development we see today. And one of the keys to an authentic and fruitful collaboration is empathetic listening.
Absolutely. I feel that history has so many things to teach us, and empathy is just one among the many lessons. I personally like to believe that all is not lost. Everybody has the potential to be empathetic, we just need to tap into it. And I think it's very heartwarming to see that a lot of people make active efforts to use it every single day. But you know, man, as we talk about empathy, I am reminded of a very similar word, which is sympathy. Now, did you know that there is a very big difference between the two? While empathy means experiencing somebody's feelings, sympathy only means understanding their feelings at a cognitive level. So I think it's a very good idea for us to show our viewers a quick video on the same. Now, this video has been taken from YouTube and it has been made by Brene Brown. So let's watch it.
Yeah, give me a moment to share, ma'am.
Sure.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you can climb down. I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. Yeah. And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
That was such an interesting video, ma'am. Empathy drives connection, whereas sympathy drives disconnection. That was an insightful discovery. So, Avanti, ma'am, what can we do to ensure that we are empathetic and not just sympathetic towards others? Are there any tips that we all can apply in our daily lives or teach our children?
Yes, ma'am. There are surely many tips that all of us can apply in our lives to cultivate empathy. Just please give me a moment to share my screen with everyone. Yes. So far, we have seen that Empathy is at the heart of what it means to be a good human being. It's like giving somebody a warm psychological hug, and it's the basic foundation for acting ethically, for building good relationships, and for even preventing all kinds of cruelty, such as bullying, for example. And so, it's very important for us to ensure that we instill this quality in our young children right from the start. So here we have a few guideposts for parents to help them cultivate empathy in children. Now, as you can see from the table, we have 5 major tips which are listed in the first column, followed by 3 ways in which you can incorporate them into your daily lives. So let's take a look at these 5 major tips individually. Now, please don't worry if you haven't had the time to read through the entire table. We will be looking at them individually in the coming slides. The number 1 tip for parents is to empathize with your child and model empathy. Now, children learn empathy both from watching us and from experiencing our empathy for them. Empathizing with our children basically means paying attention to their physical as well as emotional needs, respecting their personality, and taking a genuine interest in their lives. Children learn empathy by watching those we notice and appreciate. Believe me, they will notice when you treat someone badly or show concern for someone. So try to know your child by asking specific questions such as, what was interesting about today? Or what do you like about your friend? Then try to demonstrate empathy for other people, including those who are different from you. Express an interest in those people who face many challenges. Engage in community service with your child to send them a message that helping is indeed important. Children will do what they observe in us. Now, sometimes you won't be able to empathize with your child. So when that phase comes, I think it's important that you take some time to reflect and consult with the people that you trust. So along with this kind of self-reflection, it is important that you regularly engage in some activity to avoid being overwhelmed by stress. The second tip for parents is to make caring for others a priority in the home environment. Now, if children are to value other people's perspectives and show compassion for others, then it is important that they hear this exact same message from their parents that caring is important. So send your children a very clear message as to what you expect from them. Let them know that it is important that you're kind to others. Now, when you speak to other important adults in your child's life, such as their teachers or their coaches, then I think it's important that you ask whether your child is a caring, helpful, and a compassionate community member, apart from just inquiring about their grades or performance. And along with this, I think it's important that you help your child understand that he or she cannot always be the center of attention. This is because sometimes showing concern for others is absolutely necessary, even if that's the last thing that you want to do. For example, being polite to others even when you're in a bad mood yourself. The third tip for parents is to provide opportunities for children to practice empathy. Now, children are definitely born with the capacity for empathy, but it needs to be nurtured throughout their lives. So through trial and error, certain experiences will help children get better at tuning into others' feelings and perspectives. So to provide such opportunities, have family meetings when there are conflicts or challenges at home. Listen very carefully to what children have to say and ask your children to also listen carefully to other family members' opinions. You could also discuss different ethical dilemmas with your children, which will help them see different perspectives. So see how they can respond in different situations and ultimately learn to instill the quality of working well with others. Encourage your children to do service not just for others, but with others as well, because this will allow them to improve their sense of connection. The fourth tip for parents is to expand your child's circle of concern. Now, what this basically means is that we must guide our children in understanding and caring for many kinds of people who are different from them and who may be facing challenges which are very different from their own. So, to do this, help your children to zoom in, tuning in very carefully to others' perspectives, but also to zoom out after having taken in multiple perspectives and people. What you could do is use newspaper or TV stories to start conversations with your children about other people's struggles or hardships. Encourage your children to understand those who are different or struggling. Teach them the importance and the art of listening and give your children some very simple ideas for taking action, such as maybe going and comforting a classmate who has been teased. And fifthly, the last tip is to help your children develop self-control and manage feelings. Now, oftentimes, when children don't express empathy, it's not because they don't have it. It's simply because an underlying issue or some form of negative feeling is blocking it. So helping your children manage those negative feelings is what ultimately releases empathy. So to do that, help them identify and label the exact negative feelings they are experiencing. It could be frustration or anger or even stress, and encourage them to talk to you about the same. Now, when children are calm, teach them 3 basic steps to manage negative feelings. These are, first of all, simply stop. The second is take a deep breath through the nose. And third is exhale through the mouth, counting till 5. Simple, right? Now, when you see your children getting upset, then remind them about these steps and do it with them together. And lastly, practice with your child how to resolve different conflicts. What you could do is even role play different ways of responding. So this brings us to the end of the 5 tips through which you can cultivate and even model empathy yourself. Along with this, I would like to share a very small but thoughtful and beautiful poem on empathy, which goes something like this. Let me hold the door for you. I may have never walked in your shoes, but I can see your soles are worn, your strength is torn under the weight of a story I have never lived before. Let me hold the door for you. After all you have walked through, it is the least that I can do. Thank you.
Wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing with us these wonderful tips. I'm sure if everyone starts implementing them, the world will be a much more empathetic place. When empathy is directly connected to our sense of connection and well-being, even our children develop it. But when is the right time to do that?
According to Swami Vivekananda, if we want our students to be moral, then the school curriculum is the best way to achieve that goal. According to our new educational policy 2020, students from a young age should be taught to do what's right and be given a logical framework for making ethical decisions. For that, children will benefit by reading and learning from the original stories of Panchtantra, Jataka, and other inspiring tales. I feel proud to share that in the past, our school has conducted certain activities on the value of empathy. To share more about that, I would like to call upon Tamanna Jain of Class 5. Over to you, Tamanna.
Thank you, ma'am, and good evening, everyone. Schools have helped us students to achieve a lot, not only in the field of academics, but also emotionally and morally. We sympathize with people who are suffering, and our school takes initiatives towards their needs. Ma'am, if you remember, our school held a drive named Ek Muthi Anaj, which refers to a handful of grains. Students were encouraged to give a palmful of rice to the school. Each student giving one handful made a huge quantity in total, which was given away to the needy. This handful, which may not be so much of an importance to us, would bring abundance of joy to the hungry. This doesn't just help us empathize with others, but also makes us feel good about ourselves. Another youth success that our school carried out was the Joy of Giving activity that made it possible for us to help the less fortunate ones by giving things that aren't necessarily useful to us, but may be a great use and importance to them. We were asked to bring old newspaper, toys, notebooks, or anything that we find donatable. Things were given to the organizations that were in need to them and help them. The feeling of giving and helping is so delighting. It makes us feel happier and proud the fact that we were able to help them. We must remember that the joy of giving lasts longer than the joy of receiving, which I myself have noticed is true. We all hope we are kind. We hope people think good of us. Kindness is a key ingredient that enhances positivity and helps us students to feel good about ourselves. Recently, a challenge was thrown our way where we were supposed to make a good do jar. This activity required us using a jar and a few ice cream sticks. We wrote good things and kind deeds on the ice cream sticks and slowly picked one. The deed on the stick was supposed to be carried out by us. This was, according to me, a very fun way to make us feel excited about doing something so good. The sticks had activities such as helping a stray animal, providing assistance to an elderly person, making a bird feeder, planting a tree, giving a donation, feeding a stray animal for a week, etc. I was really excited for the activity. The first time I did this, I was supposed to make a bird feeder. The fact that small and tiny birds would find my bird feeder and perch on it made me almost burst with happiness. I'm happy and proud of myself that I took part in such an amazing, interesting, and creative activity. This activity really helped to boost up my mortal esteem and encourage me to do more kind things for people often. So, despite the fact that the activity was completed, I took it upon myself to pick one stick every week and do a good deed. It's a small step, but it makes me really happy and glad that I'm able to help someone. Schools have provided us with so many opportunities, and I'm glad to have been a part of it. It teaches us how to empathize with people who are suffering and help and make us aware of the problems in our society by giving small opportunities to right the wrongs. I am very happy to be a part of school where I grow up, not only academically, but also emotionally and morally. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tamanna, for sharing your thoughts. Such activities do leave a long-lasting impact, and it makes our students responsible and moral. Our curriculum is planned in such a way that there is a value decided for each month. These values are introduced through and examples. Now, at this point, let me introduce a fun fact. We so far know what empathy is, but do you know there are many different types of empathy. Let me demonstrate this with the help of an activity, which I will conduct with my 3 participants. I will ask each one of you to imagine a situation and tell me how would you feel and what would you do if you were in such a situation. So Tamanna, I would like to ask you a question first. If someone is new to your class and some students try to bully the new student by saying bad words or tease, how would you feel?
I can imagine what a new student would be going through, how he or she would feel. I will also feel sad for him because it will be difficult for him or her to adjust in the new school. But I do wonder if he could ever become friends with these people who tease him.
What a thoughtful answer. What Tamanna has just demonstrated is cognitive empathy, which is the ability to understand how a person feels and what they might be thinking of. Now, let's turn to Snigdha. Snigdha, if you see a family shivering in the cold, hungry on a footpath, how will you feel and what would you do?
As I cannot see anyone suffering like that, I will try to provide them with food, blankets, etc. Whatever makes them feel comfortable.
Superb. What Snigdha has shown is compassionate empathy. It goes beyond just understanding others and sharing their feelings. It actually moves us to take an action and help however we can. Now it's Anvay's turn. Anvay, if you see a dog who's badly hurt and is unable to walk, how would you feel and what would you do?
Um, I will feel very sad about him and I will help the dog to cross the road. With my parents' help, I will take him to the vet if needed. We, as a human, can express our feelings, but animals cannot.
Wow, what an answer. We all should have empathy not only for people, but also for animals and the environment around us. Anvay has just shown us what emotional empathy is. You not only understand a person's feelings, but you try to connect with something in yourself, the feeling of deep sorrow and emotional pain that somebody else must be going through. Such thought provoking activities help the child to relate oneself in any given situation. And it really feels great to see these young children develop this feeling in them from now as to how others would feel without thinking about their own feelings. But the question is, are we able to achieve our learning goals through these activities?
Yes, Harsimran, we as educators give special attention to the development of a child's whole being. That's why, while designing such activities, we keep in mind the 3H: head, heart, and hand. Where head is used to analyze and think over a given situation, heart is there to feel for those who are in such a situation, and hand is for what we can do for them. These activities are not just conducted at a school level, but in fact, they have a deep impact on the character building of a child, which in turn helps them to become a better individual. And we cannot ignore a parent's role in the character building of a child. I would like to invite Mrs. Sarda to share her thoughts and experiences on the same. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I personally believe being empathetic brings us close to God. I feel we have to focus on imbibing or making this generation understand and follow the importance of values like respect, speaking politely, helping elders, treating all people equally, sharing things from a very young age. You know, we are members of Balaji Temple Samaj, and we often contribute in activities such as cloth donation, Annadan, blood donation camps, etc. Snigdha used to accompany us to temple since she was a small kid. She got used to the feeling of sharing and caring since then. Before this pandemic, we used to gather in temple with friends very frequently. You know, because our children watch us, how we behave with elders, help them, the way we communicate and interact with others.
Yes, Mom keeps saying that we can build a small plant, but not a fully grown tree. Similarly, values given from a very young age stays forever. Both my parents have always shown me the correct way.
Yes, you know, children are born with the capacity for empathy, but it isn't something that unfolds automatically or in a day. We, as a parents, have to become role models for our children, and we know actions speak louder than words. So our children will not imbibe this value unless we do it. As a parent, we should model ourselves in such a way that our child understands what empathy looks like, sounds like, and feels like. Snigdha has seen it, felt all these emotions too. Most importantly, I would like to tell the parents that they have to make sure not to fight in front of our children. And even if it happens, try to resolve the differences in front of them only. From this, children will learn to always lend an ear to others during conflict and arrive at a mutual conclusion.
Yes, I have learned mostly from seeing parents and also from other elders how they behave, support, think, and talk with our neighbors, friends, and with family. Our society today is much more advanced, much better than it used to be. But do you think, Mom, it is important to be empathetic during these times?
Yes, it has to be given importance. One best example of such is your father's friend circle. Whenever free, they arrange a workshop in the lawn for security personnel kids, servants' kids, to make them learn how to draw, how to use laptops, surfing, basic education, etc. We all contribute the materials required to teach those lessons. We also discussed with Snigdha a different way of celebrating her birthday. You can share in your home words, Snigdha.
On my birthday, obviously, I will be smiling throughout the day. But I also make sure to bring happiness and smile on someone's face too. I purchase stationery items, toys for the kids who cannot afford it, and distribute clothes and food to those who need it.
I encourage Snigdha to spend time with our neighbors who are elderly people. Initially, she wondered why I was sending her there. Slowly, she got to like them and their company. She started fondly calling them Dada and Dadi. Since these people are alone in Hyderabad, they need someone who can spend time with them.
Yes, I enjoy playing carom board with them and listen to wonderful stories and experiences of their childhood. I learn so much from them and it really makes me happy to see smiles on their faces.
I also request the parents, whenever you find children behaving ethically or with some responsibility, you should acknowledge them, motivate them to do more of that sort of activities. You can reward them in one or the other way.
Yes, my mom gave me a star chart to maintain. Whenever I do something good like being responsible, helping mom with household chores, helping others, etc., I get a smiley. Once I complete the row, I will be rewarded with a surprise gift. I also get sad smileys as punishment when I shout or speak loudly with disrespect.
Yes, I strongly think it is the need of the hour that parents should focus on imparting the moral values in their children. I believe each parent is concerned about their child's upbringing. But sometimes due to our busy schedules, we may miss being a part of a child's life. As wisely said, to be in your child's memories tomorrow we need to be present in their lives today. So have a we time like we always do every day. In the evening, with no distractions or TV or mobile, we family sit together and talk to each other. The sense of family bonding develops a lot due to this. So remember, the golden rule of parenting is to always show your children the kind of person you want them to be.
Wonderful, Mrs. Sarda. The daily empathy building can happen only when parents and school are working hand in hand. I'm sure all the parents watching the webinar will agree with you. And Snigdha, I would like to ask you a question. Which way of celebrating your birthday do you like the most?
Although I like to celebrate my birthday with friends, but I was so surprised, and when I saw so many smiles on those children's faces, I felt that it was the best way to celebrate.
Oh, that was very heart touching, Snigdha. And it was really nice of you to celebrate your birthday in such a unique way, even during such tough times. I believe these challenging times have taught our children to use their voice for kindness, their ears for compassion, hands for charity, mind for truth, and heart for love. Anway from class 4 has seen people around him empathize with others during the pandemic. We would like to hear from him more about it. Over to you, Anway.
Thank you, ma'am, for bringing us to this discussion. In these COVID times, the people around us who are in pain due to the loss of a loved one. Many are struggling with job loss and isolation or trying to cope with a health issue themselves. Even kids like us can't go out for playing, for birthday party, and of course for school. We are just behind the closed doors, not meeting anyone, and no enjoyment at all during summer vacation. We can't meet friends, can't share a tiffin, and so on. Do you know, in our society, there are few senior citizen families who suffer a lot due to complete lockdown. No maid, no milkman, shortage of medicines at home, no outside exercise or gathering affected them psychologically and physically. Similar thing happened with my father's friend who is bachelor. He merely managed his day by eating once in a day whatever he got, and this continued for a week as there were no tiffin supply in his area. In such a situation of crisis, imagine being able to help someone, share their sorrows, bring a smile to their faces. It's a heartwarming feeling. But gradually, people started to help by distributing necessary things like masks, sanitizers, and other essentials. Celebrity Sonu Sood facilitated people who are in a free location and settled in this pandemic crisis. He arranged food packets, water, medicines, masks required during travel at his own cost. Celebrities like Lata Mangeshkar, Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, Akshay Kumar, and many more, who are very much active on social media, raised funds in crores to manufacture medical equipments, oxygen cylinders, medicines, etc. NGOs are not behind in this pandemic. In Gujarat, more than 15 active NGOs were working with government with their local representatives to distribute food, medicines and hygiene kits for isolated patients and their relatives. Panha Foundation helped to convert auto rickshaws into an ambulance to carry infected people free of cost. Akshay Patra Foundation provides food packets, meals to needy ones. Many charitable trusts offer their halls for isolation and to treat COVID patients. It's wonderful to see people trying to understand one another by putting themselves in another individual's shoes.
Thanks, Anvay, for sharing with us how the world has changed and how people are coming forward to help one another. But I would like to ask you how you and your family helped others during these tough times.
In this COVID time, my family took few steps like we stay at home to break the COVID chain unless it is required to step out. Sometimes my mother prepares meal for quarantine people. She also spreads awareness message among domestic helpers. My father says be volunteer. My grandfather taught me empathy in communication by greeting genuinely. We do video calling to our relatives and friends to ask about their and family well-being, their health, etc. My mother and her friends have stopped overbuying essentials and medicines as well. She buys most of the required things from local vendors and farmers to support them. My grandpa told me that we should express our gratitude towards who risks their lives every single day to keep us safe. Say a pleasant and heartfelt thank you to that security watchman or delivery boy and every frontline worker. So I made a super helper badge and handed over it to a nurse when I went to clinic take flu vaccine. I expressed my gratitude for her contribution during COVID time. On this platform, I really want to thank each and every frontline worker for their contribution to the society. Thank you everyone for being with us. Take care of yourself and your beloved ones.
Was sorry, that was simply great, Anvay. I feel we all have empathy, but we may not have enough courage to display it. As a reflection on the discussion done today, everybody watching this webinar, there is something that you can do in your life right now, today, to make a difference in somebody else's life. And to do this, we have to extend ourselves to be empathetic. It does not have to be with the poor, the needy, or the animals. It could be your next door neighbor, your extended family, to your own children. Just a simple question asked. What can I do? Can change your life and somebody else's life too. On this thoughtful note, we would like to thank our participants and everyone present for being a part of this insightful discussion. And we wish through this webinar, we were able to touch your lives to bring a change in it. Yali ho.